inviting people into a space where we're going to hold this story.
Love that. Did you know a lot of the riders were actually women wearing beards?
Yes.
Which gives me such like Monty Python vibes. It's amazing.
What if Muppets did the Easter story?
If that's all we're looking for, that's what we're going to find. Yeah.
I'm looking for pie.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, and welcome everybody to another episode of Faith and Geekery, that place where we board the crazy train to go and find all the various things we can find about faith and especially about geekery. We run up hills, we find the smoke on the water, and nothing else matters but your passion for the geeky things in life. And so I'm Tom. I am one of the hosts this evening, and I'm also joined this evening by which one of you wants to go first?
I shall go first because I want to recognise how awesome that intro was. Well done. A round of applause. Awesome.
With a very small amount of time to prepare it, as it was down to rock, paper, scissors with 2 minutes to go.
You're giving the secrets away. So,
I know, 2 seconds to prepare. I love it. Well done. I'm Jen. Hello.
And we're also joined by, in the producer's chair, as well as presenting,
Becca! Sorry, in the background, I've just realised that I hadn't actually plugged my headphones in. So that is what I'm going to do so that the sound is better.
Okie dokie. The producing member of our team will now go and actually get herself set up for the job. In the meantime, welcome once again to our craziness that is Faith and Geekery. The intro, if you're paying attention, may have given a little bit away about our topic and our guest for this evening, who I believe we will bring on in a short while. But first of all, what geeky things have people been up to since we last got together? So, Jen, what geeky things have you been up to?
What a good question. I can't stop singing Kate Bush in my head now, and I blame you, and I'm not mad. I love it. The thing that I've been geeking out hard this week and all weeks, but especially this week, is Walt Disney World content. I'm pretty sure this was the thing I was geeking out about last time. So this is a hyper focus that is lasting, and I am here for it. But specifically, I've got some new Mickey ears this week, and I love them so much. I wish I could sleep in them. Like I wish that like they were comfortable enough to wear all day and then also all night. I love them so much. I was going to bring them down, but then obviously I forgot. Because
I was going to say, for those listening rather than watching, especially those listening on podcast, later on the recorded version, available on all good podcast suppliers. Where are they? You're not wearing them.
I'm not wearing them. I am going to go get them immediately as soon as you're ready for me to stop talking to somebody else, and then I will put them on and you can see, because they are themed to something that I am so excited about coming up very, very soon. It's life. Everything about it is life. So I will go.
And in the meantime, now that you've got your headphones on,
and an evening all from Purple Plushie, and a hello from Note Just.
Note Just, yeah.
Welcome to the gloriousness that is Faith and Geekery.
And in the meantime, Becca, what geeky things have you been up to?
Well, I have talked about Pythagoras theory more times this week than I have done since I probably did it during GCSEs in the mid 90s, because I built a wardrobe that I knew was the perfect height for the room it was going into. I built it flat on the floor and discovered that I should have remembered Pythagoras theory because I could not stand it up. So I had to then take the whole wardrobe apart again because the diagonal was longer than it was.
Was this an IKEA one?
It was an IKEA.
Do you know on the IKEA instructions they put a little thing that says that if your ceiling is this high, you have to build it upright.
A position of being empowering and supportive of my teenage daughter, and I said, stick to the instructions, we'll follow the instructions, forgetting that one of the things you do, like with a recipe, is read it all the way through to the end. And then
nobody reads it all the way through to the end. Nobody.
No, who does that? But I now do that. Note just says, Pythagoras, love it. The best bit of maths. It's like the first time you found out the circle inscribed within the 3, 4, 3 right triangle has a radius.
3, 4, 5.
1. I don't know why I read that so wrong, but this is why.
Maths.
Classic maths. Love it. Fish shaking at Pythagoras, and the full 100% blame was put upon him.
You're not the first person to shake their fist at Pythagoras, though, right? I'm pretty sure he got a bit of a rough ride of it at times. And also, kids stay in school because maths actually helps.
It does. Audio description for those listening along later. Jen now has her Mickey ears. Not only are they Mickey ears, but they look almost mini ears because they've got a little
they've got a bow. The bow is detachable if anybody wants to borrow them.
They're mini ears, but more importantly, they have on them a certain Mr. Mando and a little Grogu.
And the little Snicky snacks for Grogu are on the bow. His favourite little blue Snicky snacks. And then the signet is on the other side of the bow, and I love them as if they were my own children.
And why not? They are very, very awesome. They're very awesome.
I do have more ears here. I brought all of them down, but I'm guessing maybe if we did that, we would be able to talk.
If you could, without mentioning it, keep changing them throughout the episode for my viewing pleasure. We might occasionally mention it. Tom, before we just chatter for the whole evening, what have you been up to?
I have been. I've been back at the hobby desk for the first time in a while. Been painting up some minis for a little kill team campaign that I've joined. A really fun one where they just have like random extra rules added in each month when you play your game. So my first game of that is in a couple of days. So I've been painting up some models of that using a little
very cool
fun paint scheme for those. I've been playing some bigger Warhammer 40,000 as well. I have been entirely geeking out on watching the whole of Mackenzie Crook's new comedy, Small Profits, all in basically one go. The man is a genius. The show is awesome. I've been geeking out by just blitz watching all of that, which was
very cool,
fabulous.
Very cool.
That's been me. So
what could be better than 3 geeks hanging out and talking about geeky things other than 4 geeks hanging out and talking about geeky things? And here we have, for your viewing and listening pleasure, Andy.
Hello.
Andy, welcome to the stage.
I feel I'm in good company. Tom, I went to Warhammer World on Thursday last week.
Not jealous
I took my eldest son. We've been painting ever since. Jen, I actually have a lightsaber next to me.
This, but we really didn't.
We really didn't. I just thought I'd grab a handful of my geekery things. I make these for fun.
You make them?
Oh, we need to lure you
Just-
into our Discord, and then we will pimp you out in a respectful
A little
way.
tiny one, which would be a Grogu-sized one, or
So
a
I actually
Yoda-sized.
I've already made a Yoda replica from his Clone Wars one, but it's not in this room, so I can't show you it.
Oh.
But yes.
Okay, well, that's awesome. That's amazing. Also, can I just say, my son took his grandparents to Warhammer World over the half-term holiday. So a lot of coincidence going on. It's almost as if we're all really
I
geeky
feel
or
they're just my
something.
neighbours. I live next to them, so I
You should go, it's
absorb
awesome.
them.
However,
The
I
food and
gently
beer is good as well.
I'm feeling
Very
like I've
cool.
already broken a promise to Mark, who is not on screen with us this evening, who I promised we would stay on topic of and wouldn't get dragged into Warhammer conversations.
We're going to save that for another.
Principal, which is not our principal topic tonight. We'll get onto that. We will get onto that.
We will.
But in the meantime, welcome, Andy. So you've been to Warhammer World. Any other geeky, avoiding the topic we're going to get onto later, any other geeky things that you've been up to recently?
Well, other than painting, it's been half term, so I've had the kids all week. So I've done all sorts of crafty things. I've been getting back into video games, played some D&D. I've done all sorts of things that is pretty geek central. I won't even say geek adjacent. It's just there.
Full geek.
And I play guitar, and I don't get much time to do that, so I geeked out on my gear for one day this week, and that was really fun as well.
Very cool. Very
See,
very
we
cool. I feel like
have the best guests.
Yeah, I feel like
bless
guitar
you.
geek is sort of more chic geek rather than geek. I feel like it crosses over into cool geek.
Well, it definitely tags into our topic, but I don't know where the line is drawn between all these different sub geeks. It's
all geek is cool geek. Come on.
All geek is chic geek.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah.
You are most welcome amongst us, Andy, as a fellow
Thank you.
geek, and we look forward to sharing a bit more about one of your other geeky passions in a bit. But in the meantime, if the producer has it lined up, we might manage. Yes, we're going to manage some geeky news.
This is the Faith and Geekery News, broadcast to your home and around the world.
Well, here we go. Here is a very beautiful picture of the basilica, what's it called? Sagrada Familia, which after more than a century of slow, patient construction has finally reached its maximum planned height following the installation of a cross on top of the tower of Jesus Christ. It's roughly 172 meters, 566 feet. The tower now secures the Sagrada Familia's place as the tallest church in the world, a title only recently claimed.
Very cool.
There you go. In other news, season 3 of Good Omens has been announced, which surprised fans. The final season will only have one episode, where the first two seasons each featured 6 episodes. The new one will conclude with a single feature-length finale. What is it called when it's both a finale and a beginning? Harari. Which caught many fans off guard. There we go.
As in, it's like the origin story.
I don't even no. As in, is it a finale in a season when there's only one episode? So it's not only the finale of the season; it's also the
opening episode.
Something that rhymes with finale would be very satisfying. And finally, composer Murray Gold, who composes for Doctor Who, has revealed that the Doctor Who showrunner, Russell T Davies, has written several versions of the script for the 2026 much anticipated Christmas special. It will come after Nkuti Gatwa regenerated into a new incarnation, played by returning Who legend Billy Piper, and will also mark the first episode show after the end of the deal with Disney. There we go. Any thoughts on that, my lovelies?
Who knows? Only he pronounces his name Shooty, which is a beautiful.
Sorry. What did I say?
it had an N in it, I think, and I thought it was pronounced that. If you just read it, that's how it looks. But his name's very beautifully.
I will always it.
It can't possibly be that Rose Tyler is the Doctor. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm so happy about it being Billy Piper, and I don't know. Are they going to? Is it the TARDIS somehow, or is it like Is it the interface? Somehow, is it that? I don't know, but I love her and she's so talented. So just very excited. Very excited. Not as excited as I am about the big church thing. That was great.
That is a big church, isn't it?
It's a really tall church. That was a sarcastic joke. I'm more excited about Doctor Who.
I want to be really, really excited about Good Omens, but it's just a little bit
sad.
I don't want
it's all a bit overshadowed. Yeah.
I don't want to use the word tainted, but it feels
it is. Feels a bit tainted and overshadowed. Yeah, it does. I agree.
Shame.
Yeah.
Because the actors are fab. That's really, really fab.
So wonderful.
And of course, as a Pratchett fan, it was from my mind, it's the one Pratchett that has really, really kind of made it properly on the TV screen.
Yeah.
I know
big and beautiful, and to have such positive queer representation as well was really really good. So it all feels a little bit sad to me, but I'm still excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and the Doctor Who stuff. I'd be interested because the Disney stuff. I don't know. I found myself kind of falling a bit, having only really got into love with Doctor Who in the Matt Smith era. I'm kind of being quite excited by it. I kind of fallen off during the Disney era, so I'll be interested to see what happens as it returns to its BBC only roots.
It'll be an interesting shift for sure. Yeah, awesome.
Indeed.
Fabulous. Andy, any strong opinions about any of those three news items? You don't have to have one.
Not particularly. I am a big fan of stained glass, so the Sagrada Familia is pretty cool. I didn't know that was finished, but yeah, other than that, no strong opinions.
No strong opinions. Hang on. Note just says it's not the first time a Time Lord is regenerated with a familiar face.
It isn't. Yeah.
Has there been a time when the Time Lord has regenerated with the face of not a Time Lord?
Oh,
I'm not a big enough aficionado. I don't think so.
No, I think it's just David Tennant, but I might be wrong about that because I don't know the OG ones enough.
No, I don't.
I feel like Mark would know if he was here.
Yeah, that's true. This is what you get for
having another meeting.
Whacking it. That's what we'd have called it at school. Did you not call it whacking it when you were skiving?
It just sounds more rude when you say it. I don't know why.
Are we ready for a quiz?
Yeah, do it. Let's go for the quiz.
I got questions. The quiz.
Right, my lovelies. This is going to be roughly on the theme and will in fact introduce the theme. So please make sure you've got pen, paper or a device for recording your answers. And I shall read the questions to you with almost definite mispronunciation as we go along. Question number 1. In the 1990s, which electronic musical device was used in almost every subgenre of heavy metal? In the 1990s, which electronic musical device was used in almost every subgenre of heavy metal?
Oh, I think when we do it themed like this, which A is awesome, is also B hardest on the guest who has come in with their passion as expert. Because no pressure though, Andy. If you don't know it, that's okay. Just so you know, there's no pressure at all.
Yeah, no, I mean we just go with the 0 points on many weeks.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works with the next question then. Number 2. Which heavy metal was once used in hat making, leading to chronic poisoning that inspired the phrase "mad as a hatter"?
I think I do know.
I think I know that one because I'm from Stockport and there's a hat museum. So I think I might actually know that. And again, I might not. And that would be really embarrassing. And I'd be letting down everybody from Stockport.
Everybody. We'll all judge you. Yeah.
All Stockportonians.
Question number 3. Which heavy metal band is credited with creating the first true concept album in the genre? This one might be a bit out there. It's built around an apocalyptic battle between good and evil and was released in 1988. So which heavy metal band credited with creating the first true concept album in an apocalyptic battle between good and evil from 1988? Question number 4. Which heavy metal was once used as a pigment in ancient cosmetics and paints, prized for its bright color despite being highly toxic and capable of causing neurological damage?
Oh. Oh.
Read it again and then move on. Which heavy metal was once used as a pigment in ancient cosmetics and paints, prized for its bright color, despite being highly toxic and capable of causing neurological damage? And question number 5. Which legendary band member originally tuned which legendary metal band originally tuned their guitars down to C sharp because their guitarist had injured fingers, a choice that went on to shape the sound of heavy metal itself? So which legendary metal band originally tuned their guitars down to a C sharp because their guitarist had injured fingers? See, that question has an Andy nod of approval because I was quite proud of that question.
It's the only one I'm confident on.
Yeah,
I love that you're confident on that, though.
I'm fairly confident on that one as well.
Okay, let's rewind. I'll give the answers and then we can have a chat about it. So in the 90s, synthesizers were used in almost every heavy metal subgenre, whether that was drum synthesizers, Moogs, synthesizers. Question number 2.
Did not get that right.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Andy. The answer, which heavy metal was once used in hat making, was mercury, specifically mercuric nitrate, which was used in the felting process for hat making and caused the neurological symptoms that inspired the phrase "mad as a hatter." The heavy metal band credited with creating the first true concept album was Queensryche, whose 1988 album Operation Mindcrime is widely credited as the first fully realized heavy metal concept album built around a single cohesive narrative of political corruption, manipulation, and rebellion.
That's very cool.
There you go. Answer number 4 was lead, specifically in the form of lead compounds like lead white and red lead, which were used in ancient cosmetics and paint for their striking brightness despite their severe toxicity and neurological effects. And the final answer was Black Sabbath. Tony Iommi's finger injury led him to detune his guitar to C sharp, giving the band that darker, heavier sound that became foundational to the metal's entire evolution. And that was the quiz.
I got questions. The quiz.
Oh my gosh. I got 4 out of 5. I am officially retiring.
Goodness.
Now. I will never do better than that. Oh my goodness.
Well done.
Well done,
Epic.
Jen.
That is epic.
Which one did you get wrong?
the number 3 one, I've literally never heard of them at all, but they sound awesome. And also, where would Taylor Swift be without them? So, you know, that sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to go and listen to them. But I knew Lead because of Queen Elizabeth the First. Used to paint her face, and she had like potted skin in the end, right? Because of how toxic it is. And I just guessed Black Sabbath. I just guessed it.
I mean, they were like the top 3, weren't they?
Yeah. You misread the question, and I wrote the name of the guitarist before you wrote the band. So I was
nice,
like,
I did, yes. Nice.
Oh,
you answered correctly. My mistake.
No. Jen, you are twice the expert I am.
That is awesome.
Going back to our Doctor Who conversation, Romana, who is one of the other Time Lords, remember there are more Time Lords than just the Doctor, regenerated with a face identical to a princess she and the Doctor had met in a previous adventure.
There you go, precedent has been set.
Well done.
And Davis would be the kind of writer to know that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's epic.
What a geek.
Good job. I'm totally ready to talk about heavy metal now. Ready to go.
Andy, we have you with us this evening, and you joined us because one of the things you've already mentioned, some others, but one of the things that you get geeky about is indeed, as has been given away by the quiz, heavy metal, and not the elements that we know as metal that are somewhat heavy, like mercury and lead, but no, the musical genre. So,
indeed.
First question. Why heavy metal?
Good question. I think, you know how some people look at sunsets and it makes them go like, oh, look at this grandeur. For me, it's always been heavy music. It's just got a slightly transcendental quality in my psyche. And I was raised on classic rock, but was also raised on like Robbie Williams and the Carpenters. So it's not like I was, greenhoused in this or anything. Yeah. But I just remember as a young teen, and it was, I was a teen in the early 2000s, and the music on the radio was really varied, and so you had Foo Fighters and Muse and Metallica and Linkin Park and bands like Papa Roach and stuff, kind of blending all these genres and throwing it at you, and you just heard it everywhere you went. And it was always the heavy stuff I gravitated towards, so I just started going down rabbit holes and finding heavy things.
And there are many, I think, many rabbit holes in the genres of heavy metal, as has already been hinted by one of the questions in the quiz. Heavy metal is of itself quite a broad umbrella under which many other subgenres fit. So any particular of those subgenres that are the ones that appeal most?
I think classically prog metal's always been pretty high on my list. Again, like I was raised by a dad who loved like Led Zeppelin and Def Leppard and bands that have a kind of storytelling element, and so prog fits really nicely into that.
Nice.
And as a young musician, I got a bit bored of playing like, nothing wrong with the Chili Peppers, but they're a bit predictable. Whereas when you play a song that's in like 7/8 and you don't have a clue what note's going to come next, it's a bit of a challenge. So prog is where I used to sit. I think as I've grown older, I've got more into the kind of darker, heavier end of the world rather than the jaunty musical exploration.
Okay.
What does prog stand for? What is that?
Progressive. That's all it stands for.
Progressive heavy metal.
Yeah, just progressive metal. It's a term kind of borrowed from prog rock from the 70s. So bands like Genesis and who are the guys with the flute?
Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull. There you go. Oh, thank you. Blending of styles and making intentionally complex music for the sake of telling a concept or something like that.
So the whole thing of concept albums is very much a prog thing.
Absolutely.
Long tracks that, things like, I mean, not in the heavy metal genre, but, Pink Floyd's massively long kind of 15-minute tracks that wander all over the world before resolving themselves. That's in the musical terms, that's progressive. It's music that progresses and takes you through a story.
So progresses a narrative. I see. Yeah, that's awesome. And when I think about heavy metal or the metal genre, I'm also thinking about performance and how, to me, the like, in order to like really love and connect with a band, you're really probably going to be connecting with their live performances as well. Like, I think about seeing Machine Head. Machine Head were the very first band I ever saw by myself without adult supervision at all, and to me, I still remember as if it was yesterday, even though it was many, 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 many years ago, because of the performance, because the performance was that ethereal, out of body, connected with everybody around you. But then it felt more like theatre. It felt like it was a story that you were watching that had a beginning, middle, and an end. I love that.
Yeah, there's a distinctly theatrical element to a lot of it. One of the being very attracted to songs that have a narrative, and you get that in pop music. You've already mentioned Taylor Swift. I literally listened through one of her albums with my daughter the other day, and there's a lot in here, but every song is its own little microcosm. Whereas if you listen to like a prog metal or even some of the older thrash metal albums, they go from like track 1 to track 10, and every song is a step on the way, and sometimes they go in different places. And prog often means they're willing to break boundaries for the sake of what they want to say. And so it could be that the boundary is a 3-minute song, and now you're playing an 8-minute song. But it could be that they also move into a different genre for a while to bring a new element in. And lots of some of it gets really quite meta, and I like that, but it's not always the most accessible.
Yeah, but there's a lot of creative freedom in that, which sounds really exciting, actually, because I feel like when you think about pop, or like my daughter's super into K-pop at the moment, there seems to be a lot of rules, which means you are or you're not those things. Whereas the idea that you could be meta and start to observe yourself creating something, that sounds very kind of fruitful creatively. That sounds really exciting.
As much as I often hate to admit it, it has a lot of similarities with musicals. And I grew up with a younger sister who adored Disney and musicals, so I kind of became allergic to them. However, having seen Hamilton performed last year and being like, actually, there's a great deal of the lyrical complexity, the layers of narrative, musical motifs being brought in later and subverted, and so Dream Theater is a prog metal band that's one of my all-time favorites. And as a young man, finding an album that had one track, and you're like, wait, this one track is 56 minutes long. And being like, this is literally just a musical, but a metal musical. It's a bit like Queen when it gets very theatrical.
I mean, that is epic. Like, what sort of literature do you think influences this genre in particular, or the music that you love in particular? What parallels do you?
There's a lot of like romantic poetry, so like Milton and Byron and Shelley and that kind of world. And my wife, when we met at university, she was studying English literature, so we kind of had this crossover of different places. But then it's really common. There's a weird number of songs about Moby Dick in the metal world. Mastodon have a song called White Whale that is now a meme because it is so good. And strangely enough, to bring the faith into this conversation, like biblical language get used a lot, because you don't get much more metal than like the plagues and the end of the world and all that stuff. So I was introducing my children over dinner to my favorite Metallica song, which is called Creeping Death, which is the story. It's the story of the plagues of Egypt from the perspective of the angel of death. And you're like, this is flipping metal. And I've seen them perform it, and it was like, this is so good.
That is epic. So how did they like it? How did they respond to it?
I mean, so my kids are brought up on, my wife loves, have you heard of Lawrence and like Taylor Swift and lots of pop bands? But she also journeyed with me for a long time on metal. So our house is a very, it's a buffet of music. You can have whatever you fancy if you ask for it. And I asked my kids on the drive to school this morning, I said, Daddy's going to be on a podcast talking about metal. What do you like about metal? And the youngest, who's 5, said, I like the shouty bits. And my eldest, who's 10, said that there are hundreds of styles inside it, so you're never going to get the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And the girl, and my middle child, the girl, she was like, I like that they tell stories, and there's a lot of feeling, and there's a lot of emotion, and like, yeah, so it's a bit of everything for everyone.
A little bit of everything. I love that so much, and so much resonance in terms of faith and faith structures and faith stories, but also the sort of thing that really, to live it, you've got to experience it. That sense of, you know, in order to really connect with it, it's got to be something that you're experiencing. It's not something you can just, you know, see from a distance. It's something that you have to have it somehow.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. I think.
Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, I think live is a different beast. There's obviously in every genre, there's some people who record exclusively in a studio and just put out music and don't tour. But a lot of the really, like, what I think of as really amazing metal comes from when they know that they've got a room of 50 to 1,000 people. How is this song going to make them feel? And it's the most fun, and it can be the most like triumphant, uplifting, but it can also be like, here's just a ridiculous rhythm and you're all going to bang your heads to it for 8 minutes. And it's like there's simultaneously there's like caveman brain and like Picasso all at the same time, and I love that.
Cool.
Note just puts in the cobble, just say, because we like to include our watchers and listeners. Note just has put in the comments, the operatic conventions of aria and recitative are 400 years old, and we're still using them in modern music.
Love that.
Including in metal. Something in the medieval mystery side.
Like mythicism shows up all over.
David comments and notes, he's pretty certain I've made Becca listen to Hallowed Be Thy Name by the mighty Iron Maiden. He didn't say the mighty, but they are the mighty Iron Maiden.
I'm pretty certain that Becca did not enjoy it.
Oh, disappointing. It is interesting. It's one of those. It always intrigues me that, you know, there's a lot of, in certain parts of the church world. There's a lot of, shall we say, antipathy towards metal as a genre. We might go even further than antipathy. A lot of the time, I think it's hugely it's misunderstanding. It's not.
But there are themes that some bands have. I mean, I'm thinking about Black Sabbath. Like some bands have. Because they draw upon mythical, biblical imagery, language. So there is that sense of, you know, good versus evil. So the evil sometimes is celebrated in songs. Like sometimes
absolutely.
You know, as part of that.
But,
what's the fandom like? What's it like being a part of this fandom? What sort of other people do you find?
Well, as I tiptoe towards middle age, attending gigs is a generational thing. It always has been. And I remember going to gigs, like tiny local gigs. I grew up in York, so going to tiny little gigs in little pubs in York and meeting the elder metalheads, the guys who've been there in the 70s when Sabbath had done the thing. And in general, there's been a big shift towards inclusivity because metal feels less like an excluded subgenre and more like anyone can listen to anything. And a lot of the genre blending that kind of began in the 2000s with like new metal and rap metal, guys like Rage Against the Machine and Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, has just continued and expanded. And so it's not unusual to go to a gig and see someone in like massive, you know, Doc Martens and leather and patches and a mohawk standing next to someone who you wouldn't bat an eyelid about passing in the street, because some people go for the fun and some people go for the jumping around and some people go for the poetry and the emotions, and it's just it can be a bit of everything for everyone. If you've come across the band Sleep Token, who are really popular at the moment, they're a UK band. They're from London. They blend really modern metal with like trap music and a bit of jazz and a bit of hip hop and loads of pop. I highly recommend their album that came out a couple of years ago is literally called Take Me Back to Eden, and is the story of, and there's lots of that theme is throughout. I've been to see them a couple of times, and they perform in like masks and gowns in like a kind of fake cathedral. It's very, very theatrical,
Yeah,
and the
I just
music
pulled
gets
them
really
up on
dark.
Spotify.
Yeah, dude,
It's like that
if you
instantly making a note of it. Yeah.
they're phenomenal, and again, incredibly progressive. Like themes will crop up through all of their songs that connect them all, and there's a lot of like talk conversation about meaning and identity and what is the value of life and this kind of thing. But you go to their gigs and you've got like preppy pop kids dancing next to goths who are dancing next to emos, and guys who are there for the rap and the trap, and guys who are there for the mental breakdowns, and
Which is,
and it's like
which is, it's literally a picture of God's kingdom, that, right? Like we're all different, but all of us have a place within this. So I wonder if, I think I interrupted you, Tom, sorry, but I wonder if a lot of the kind of antipathy towards it from Christians has been misunderstanding, a lack of education, but maybe also just not having that experience and seeing who's there and seeing who it brings in. That's awesome. I love that so much. That's really cool.
Dave, I don't know whether it was, he said, so David's been back on. He says, went to a gig in London in January. I don't know whether that was a Sleep Token gig, but I met a young person who made me an origami crane from scrap paper. It was awesome and unexpected. You know, that is, you know, it's not the kind of thing you expect. But you know, going to a metal gig, and that's what happens. That's I love that. I love throwing into conversations when I'm doing conversations with people about music and the church. One of my favorite bands is the band Deuteronomium. They're a Finnish Christian death metal band.
Nice.
I mean, but I love it for the subgenres. This is a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre. This isn't just death metal. It's not even Finnish death metal. It's Christian Finnish death metal. It is just absolutely just subgenre of subgenre. But they are explicitly Christian. When you listen to their albums, they are absolutely full of the faith. They and they're completely orthodox in terms of within the general understanding of what Christians believe. It is and people just go immediately write off the style of music, and you think you're not really listening. I mean, Black Sabbath, War Pigs is one of the most pacifist things that you could ever hear sung. It's really pacifist anthem, but because it's Black Sabbath. Oh no. Bad. No,
and I do think there's a general misconception as well. And I'm not going to say it's a generational thing, but I do think my dad's generation probably had to deal with it more verbally, whereas I think it's a bit quieter these days. But I do think a lot of metal leans into the theatrical, which tends to lean into shock and rebellion. Like you rebel against the status quo, and to find Christians in that scene is so refreshing, because we're commanded to be multiplying, to go forth and multiply, and to be creative and to reflect the creative image of our God. And so I think there's not much more metal about someone dying for someone else in a sacrificial way and rising from death and defeating hell. Like it's
yes.
Yeah.
Jesus was the ultimate disturber, wasn't he? Like he just went from place to place, disturbing everything and unsettling.
Absolutely.
And that was his job. And 100%. I love that. We talk quite a lot about belonging as part of our Faith and Geekery chat and vibe. And what does it mean to belong? What does it mean to associate with? What does it mean to find place within, like your place, to feel accepted and belong? So it sounds to me like maybe quite a lot of those themes come into music, come into the fandom. Is that right? Like it sounds like belonging can be part of the picture.
I think a lot like the original punk movements. Like if you are a movement based on not fitting in, then you're naturally going to engage with almost anyone who doesn't fit in, and so they become very, very broad fandoms. And particularly these days, like a lot of the kind of traditional gatekeeperiness has been knocked out of the scene in a really beautiful way, particularly with like gendered. You used to go to a gig and it would be 98% dudes, and now there are there's always been women in the metal scene, like from the start. But there's a lot of very high profile artists now who are doing incredible things. And like Linkin Park was always a massive one for me. They've reformed with a female front woman in the last few years. And I saw them at in London last June, and they were supported by another female fronted metal band called Spirit Box. And it's just, you're like, this is not only like empowering and representative, but you're like badass as well. It's not a token involvement. You're genuinely setting the direction of the whole scene in certain genres. It's wonderful to see. And I've got a 7-year-old daughter. Like, if she wants to get up there and metalhead, then why not?
Absolutely.
So I absolutely love it. I also think the music deals with tension and struggle. It is inherently, even just the literal music, the notes that are played tend to be on the dissonant minor key end of the things. And I think it means it's a scene full of people where it's okay to not be okay. And that's quite rare. Particularly pop music. Pop music is just put a shine on it or complain about them, write a slam track. Whereas this is like, well, this sucks, and I'm going to just learn how to find the silver lining in the middle of it. And
it feels like so much of pop music, or even like classic rock, really, it's taken up by love. Whereas I think I know some metal tracks that are about love, but it's not really part of the picture as that I've experienced anyway. Like, it doesn't seem to be in the same kind of way. They're not getting up there and singing about, like, their girlfriends or boyfriends. And
absolutely,
I think that's quite refreshing to me, to let's sing about something else. And there's that idea of depth of human experience being so much more than, I met somebody new and they're really nice. I love that.
There's a book. Sorry, go on, Andy. You were
no, you go ahead. You were going to say something.
There was a book. There's a book. It's on my shelf somewhere. I can't immediately put my eye to it, which has shaped some of my thinking. Which is a guy by John Van Sloten, who's a Canadian pastor and Christian music. The book's called "The Day Metallica Came to Church," and in that he reflects on a number of different things, but he reflects on going to a Metallica gig. And precisely that, recognizing that metal music engages with some of the stuff which is in the Bible, but that we is not our favorite stuff. It's not the stuff we regularly pick on as things. So the Psalms of lament rather than the Psalms of praise. The story of Job, Ecclesiastes, and its continual kind of refrain that everything is vanity. All of that stuff you find in metal, and it deals with a side of humanity which is there in the Bible, but which we often skirt over or push to one side or kind of deal with in just a very kind of, well, we know it's there and this is what it talks about, but hey, let's get on to the good kind of resurrection stuff or the sticking to the rules kind of stuff or whatever it is. And then noting that actually, this kind of music deals with topics that a lot of the time we don't allow outlet for, and yet it's right there. It's right there in Scripture. It's right there in our
100%.
faith.
Well, it is there in Scripture, but in Anglican, I can't remember about Methodism, and this might be different. But in Anglicanism, with our we have like set readings each week, which I know is the same. We kind of generally follow the same as the Roman Catholic Church. So much of the texts of terror, none of those are in there. Like so much of the darker stuff, bad stuff, is taken out. And I get it, because we don't want to traumatize people. Some of the stuff paints God in a pretty bad light, but to then not ever be encouraged to engage with those things, we're missing a trick with that, right? We're missing something crucial about what the human experience and how bad it can get in life. It can get really dark and really tough. And what do we do with our faith in those moments? That's really interesting. That's awesome. I'm going to see the Hollywood Vampires. All right, do they count as metal? Like, where do they sit? It's Alice Cooper and Johnny Depp and a bunch of other famous old. It probably is more rock, right? Than
I guess it's more classic rock. But like you said earlier, heavy metal covers a whole gamut, and it classic heavy metal from the 70s doesn't sound that metal. And I remember as a young man being told, like, oh, you should go listen to some heavy metal, and thinking it would be heavier than metal. But metal was Metallica, and heavy metal was Iron Maiden, and I was not even Iron Maiden. It's Alice Cooper, and being like, well, Alice Cooper's singing about school, Metallica's singing about death. And I went like, well, I went down this going like, well, death metal isn't actually that heavy, so thrash metal, no, that's just faster. And then I think, where do we go? And so finding your little subgenres is helpful, but is only so helpful. It's a bit like look.
And the thing of metal, I mean, what I mean, there are debates about, what does that mean? I have heard it argued, and fairly convincingly, not so convincingly that I actually would make the argument myself, but convincing that in terms of sound, the first heavy metal song was "Come Together" by the Beatles.
Helter Skelter.
Or Helter Skelter. Yeah, Helter Skelter would be another one.
I'm there with you. I've heard that too.
The Beatles are not heavy metal. Let's be very clear about that. But in terms of creating that fuzz,
but also narrative
sound,
narrative structure for an album, and also genre bending. The Beatles did, Bowie did as well. Like that whole kind of reinventing, genre bending. So there's a foundation there, which I think is very. I could talk about this for about 15,000 more hours, just so you know. I think this is absolutely fascinating.
I'll
happily come back if you want to do a part 2.
I suggest that maybe another 4 minutes would be acceptable.
Timekeeper is with us.
Of course.
And tell us, if you had to sum it up, and you've got about 3 minutes and 50 seconds, what is it that makes you so passionate about this? What is it that gives you life in this? What is this that speaks about that part of us that needs enriching and encouraging, and that spiritualness that we have in us?
I think if I'm going to get meta on it, I think life is it's an experience of conflicting tensions. And sometimes they are resolved into beautiful moments of peace or resolution or happiness or just triumph. Sometimes they're not. And so we have to learn to sit in tension. And I think metal is a genre that embodies that beautifully. And you can have a song that is raging and is negative and is like angry, genuinely so, because we need to express these feelings sometimes. But then you have it and it resolves into a refrain that is like triumphant. And that to me is like, it's like classical music. It's like the aria coming in at the end, as we've had mentioned. But I also think in a microcosm that reflects my tension, my struggle with the world. There's organized evil. There's all sorts of terror and suffering and awfulness. And I have the hope in the gospel, if I may, that one day that will all be reconciled and can be completed. And I see that being worked out in creative manners in the metal world. And Christians do that incredibly, but the non-Christians echo it. And sometimes they get it wrong. And sometimes they do it in just enough a way that they see that eternity is set into the hearts of men. And you get these little shadows where you can say to the metalhead in the gig next to you, like, you get it. And it's very much like an audible parable in a lot of ways.
I love that. The depth of how awful it can be, and the constant underlying hope that we have woven into our own being, our own chemistry. I mean, that's epic. That makes me want to go and listen immediately to all of the bands that you've talked about. Thank you so much. That's completely awesome.
I have thought, as we've been listening, actually, if we can, if there were a top 10, you really have to listen to this band. If you could come up with one and pass it on, we'll create a Faith and Geekery playlist.
Yes,
just to nudge people to go and have a listen. I think that would be a really lovely way to just follow that up.
If I can throw 2 out straight away.
One
from the kind of grey end of theology / secularness, a band called Thrice. They're more alternate rock than they are metal, but they definitely lean in that direction. And they have a lot of songs wrestling with law and grace. They have a song called Words in the Water. It's incredible. And then the second one would be a Christian metal band called Wolves at the Gate. And they're like chef's kiss. They have songs about the depravity of sin and the wonderfulness of grace and forgiveness. And they have a Christmas album It's actually really good, and I'm not one for Christmas music, but yeah, check those two out for wonderful.
Remind me of their name again. Wolves
at the Gate. I love it when an artist you do not associate at all with Christmas does Christmas though. Like Bob Dylan's Christmas album is one of the best Christmas albums ever. I totally love it. It sounds like a ridiculously cathartic thing to do, is to sit and listen to these. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I think a playlist would be absolutely spot on. Can you say that's metal as an adjective? Can we use metal as a positive adjective for things?
Yeah. Metal AF is the one that gets thrown around a lot.
Nice.
Metal AF. I love it. That's awesome. I love it. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Andy,
Thank you so much, Andy.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We do have a Discord. If you've not already joined us, you would be ever so welcome. We want to absorb you into our I was going to say our body. That sounded weird, but I said it anyway. And here we are. However, in the meantime, let's go immediately and have a little look at what the Discord community have been up to in recent times and distract ourselves from what just happened.
Amazing. So the first one is you, Tom, right?
Yeah. That is the amazing Russ Noble doing stand-up at the absolutely crazy scatterbrain stand-up at the Theatre Royal here in Norwich. It was very, very funny, very incredibly random, but very, very funny.
Amazing. And then this is from Cybersten, and this is actually not Cybersten, but Laura from the Harlequin Players Club in Norwich. And Stephen Kane's taken this picture. These are pro photos because these are the official photos taken of their production of The Hogfather. And those of you who follow along, you'll recognise that mask of The Hogfather there. It's had many an airing, especially at our last Comic-Con. And that's another one. Just look excellent, actually, in production. I'm sad to miss it. And Cybersten has also been working on a AR accessible project that he's hoping to launch soon. But he says, excuse the basic upside down angel because it is a work in progress. I mean, it's a very impressive thing to be doing anything AR, right? Like, I don't even know. There it is, upside down. But it is now, for those listening on podcast, an angel in his living room that he's able to look at on his phone, not there in real life. Again, Tom, I think this is you, right?
Oh, that was back to me. Yeah, having gone from a week where I didn't put any photos in it, and then last week where I think I was the only one with photos, lots of photos. So this was, this was us having completed our mystery adventure around Norwich. There's a whole suite of them you can get. This is not advertising for them. I've got
one for Nottingham.
But we managed to complete it. So we celebrated with a swift drink. Other beverages are available while having completed the mystery of the Stolen Canary. But it was really good. It was an enjoyable way to get round Norwich.
I'm not sure any other beverages are available apart from drinks. I think maybe all beverages.
Fair enough.
Non-alcoholic drink. Other beverages are available, and they're liquid forms like mercury.
Amazing things here from your 40k crusade.
So from the 40k crusade, that was this was a game. Often we play down one of the local shops, but this was actually at one of the guys' homes. So that was all his kind of terrain and everything laid out. Amazing set of terrain he's got.
It does look epic.
Yeah, we had a good fun game. I lost that one, but it was close run thing. And then second game, this was was that a second? Yeah, that was my next game, and that one is down the shop. That one I managed to win, but again, fun game, lots of fun stuff going on. And then this is the team that I was saying earlier about having been painting up recently. So that's them built but not painted with some basing material. So kind of the
very cool.
Yeah, that's definitely not me.
Guilty. No, I've been playing Kill Team with
cool.
my son, and I am converted. It's completely awesome. This one
Awesome.
is about a parenting geek win. Both kids now have the One Ring, and the humour wasn't lost on them either.
Indeed.
I think because they both
Indeed.
have One Ring,
Yes,
and there's
one ring.
Yeah.
There's only one of them.
I think that's the humour. This is from Note Just, who I think is on stream tonight. Hey, and this is from the AI notes on his D&D game last Sunday. Brother Joseph is a level 14 cleric with pyromania, and it says this shift toward aggressive area of effect damage fundamentally changes the party's engagement rules. They don't need to flank or pick off targets one by one when Joseph can simply delete the minions in a 30-foot radius. So he's a good one to have in your party. And then lastly, Spooky Geek says that there can be no doubt that he's bit off a bit more than he can chew, deciding on building his overlord's army, Caradon overlords. And he's saying the painting's beyond his skill level and don't zoom into it. But I think it's absolutely amazing. It blew me away. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And he says, again, sorry for the photo dump, but I think it's they're completely awesome. So thanks so much for sharing that Warhammer Age of Sigmar with us. It's amazing.
You know what's missing from that gallery, Jen? A picture.
Is it my ears?
Other than your ears, which you have not changed sufficient number of times during this session.
3 times, dude. 3 times.
Was our little trip to the theatre with the battle the other day.
Mate,
we enjoyed it so much. We took no pictures whatsoever.
No pictures. It was called Battle. What was it called? Battle.
The battle. The battle.
The battle.
It was Blur,
and it was about the Oasis,
battle and
Blur.
and Oasis.
And it was just reliving our youth.
Hilarious. We wet ourselves quite embarrassingly.
In fact, it's quite metal if you think about it, because it has at one point this completely transcendental, very kind of apocalyptic moment where everybody dies. It was incredibly Shakespearean. Everybody dies on stage. And then
Liam Gallagher does go into a Shakespearean little monologue, doesn't he? It's literally absolutely hilarious. If you get a chance to see the battle, it's at the Rec in Birmingham. It's so
I'm sure it'll be taken elsewhere because it's it was sold out.
Yeah, it absolutely deserves to be seen.
Playhouse. Go and see that.
Yeah.
Jen, do you want to bring us into land?
I sure do, because this has been such an epic conversation about all of the things that we love here on Faith and Geekery. It's about story, it's about entertainment, it's about belonging, it's about cathartic release that we do together safely. It's about finding those things that we can connect with, which transport us into that picture of hope that lives within our very selves. So thank you so much to Andy, and thank you to Becca and Tom too, and all of you joining us, whether that's this evening or later on. We hope you've enjoyed it. Connect with us on Discord, and we'll see you next time. Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.